Discovery of protons and neutrons. Now, after doing a series of experiments on the cathode rays, the anode rays were discovered. When in the discharge tube, experiment, when the same gas is subjected to a still higher pressure and the two electrodes were subjected to still much higher voltage, it was found, since this electrode is connected to the negative terminal, this is called cathode. This is connected to the positive terminal, it's called anode. See, there's a basic difference. The cathode ray experiment, the discharge tube experiment for cathode rays, when performed with the different gases, the result was the same. This shows that the particles which are constituting the cathode rays are the fundamental particles and are present in all substances, all matter particles, which is basically the electron. Now, when the same discharge tube is subjected to a still higher pressure and high voltage, the same gas, the cathode rays disappeared, and then what it was found, suddenly this tube starts glowing. And then it was found, when an opaque object was placed in the center of it, it was found that its shadow was casted on towards the cathode. It means what? Now the glow which is there in this tube is due to certain rays which are coming out from not the cathode, they are coming from the anode, and they are moving towards the cathode. So these rays which are coming out from the anode are called anode rays. Now these anode rays, when the gas of the discharge tube was changed, or the glass with which this discharge tube is made up of, when changed, the color of the anode rays also got changed, which shows that though the constituents of the anode rays are the fundamental particles, but they differ from one substance to the other. Then, number of experiments were performed to conclude the nature of these rays. Like when the opaque object was placed in their path, its shadow was casted towards the cathode, which shows that it always travels in the straight line. When the perforated cathode is used, they were able to pass through this cathode, again which shows that it travels in the straight line. Whether these are made up of particles or these are again simple electromagnetic radiations, a paddle wheel was placed in their path. What was found? The wheel started turning. It was actually being turned around by these rays, which again shows that they are having a particle nature. And then to conclude what type of a charge they are having, whether they are charged or not, or if they are charged, what kind of a charge they are having, when these rays were subjected to the electric field, like this one, which is having negative plate, on other side a positive plate, it was found that these rays got bent towards the negative plate, which shows that these are made up of positively charged particles. Now the same J.J. Thomson did the same kind of an experiment on these particles also to find out its EM ratio, charge to mass ratio, and the same experiment by the Millikan was done on these particles also in order to conclude what exactly is the charge and the masses. It was realized that the particles which constitute these anode rays are the protons. So this is how the protons were discovered, and these protons were found to have charge of plus 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 coulombs, which is also called plus 1 unit charge. So the basic differences between protons and the neutrons is that the protons are positively charged and the electrons are negatively charged. The charge on both of these are same. That is how every atom is electrically neutral because the number of protons and number of electrons will also always be same. The mass on these particles were found to be approximately 1 U or unified mass, which exactly if we go as in terms of the mass in kilograms, it is 1.66 into 10 to the power minus 24 grams, or it is minus 27 kg, which is a very, very small mass, and that is why this mass, or this being the fundamental particle, this is also called 1 mass unit. So these are the certain basics which by doing series of experiments were actually discovered, and then later on around in the second or third decades of the 20th century, it was realized that the mass of the nucleus or mass of the atom which was there inside the nucleus was not actually being fulfilled by only the protons, and it was realized that there has to be the presence of certain neutral particles, and that were discovered later on by Chadwick. So it was Chadwick who discovered neutrons. These neutrons, symbol is small n, are neutral particles. They don't have any charge, and the mass which they are having is again 1 mass unit, which is very similar to the mass of the proton, which is in terms of grams is 1.66 into 10 to the power minus 24 grams, or it will be 1.66 into 10 to the power minus 27 kg. So this is how by the series of experiments we were able to find out that these three are the basic fundamental constituting particles of the atoms of any element.